How's it, people? So this video is highly requested. People are demanding answers, and honestly, I don't blame you. While we're on that topic, I just want to firstly apologize for not really giving you closure on Korea. Like my channel started there. My channel was like centered around Korea. I know a lot of you joined my channel because of South Korea, so I kind of owed it to you, and I never really gave it to you, so I'm sorry about that. I guess what happened was I was just like taking a very long time to process everything. My like very final departure, it like took a long time for it to sink in. I think that's what was happening, and I think up until today I'm still like processing not being in Korea anymore, being here now. It's a lot. It's a lot. I know a lot of you probably think that I'm just being dramatic, but it really took a toll on me leaving South Korea. So listen, if you're new to my channel, firstly, hi. Secondly, just to like catch you up on things, I basically left South Africa for South Korea in 2011, and then I sort of kind of just like resurfaced in South Africa 10 years later, clearly to everyone's shock. Yeah, so I still get a lot of comments asking me like, Sam, what's happening? Well, why did you leave Korea? Are you heading back? What's happening? Honestly, I don't even blame you for thinking that I would head back to South Korea, just because I kind of showed you that pattern. I would, you know, for a very long time, you know, over the years, I would go to Korea, then come back for 6 months, then go back to Korea, come back for 6 months. You know, understandably so, people thought that by now I would have headed back to Korea. Sorry, I'm very distracted. There's a wasp or a bee in my room, and it's being very rude at the moment. Like, honestly, like, chill there. Make your honey, make your nest, whatever you need to do, but just like sit there quietly. And I think there's another one on this side. Lovely, lovely. But this time, you know, I just didn't head back. Listen, there were a few times when even I thought I would head back. In a few moments of weakness, I really thought I would head back. There were a few times when I had Emirates website opened and I was like, let me just see what the plane tickets are costing, just for fun, you know. But I snapped out of it. I closed Emirates website and I pushed on with my South African life. So what the heck happened? Well. So today I think I'm just gonna tell you absolutely everything, like from the beginning to the end, the middle, just everything, right? So let me just start where all great stories start, and that's at the start. Once upon a time, I graduated thousands of years ago in the year 2011 BC with a degree in journalism and media studies, you know, if you're interested. I remember as soon as I graduated, guys, as soon as I graduated, I got a call. In case you don't know what a call is, this is the call. I still do gestures from Korea. I got a call from Supersport, and they called me in for a job interview. My very first job interview ever. And I'll never forget, I flew to Midrand. Not to Midrand, oh my gosh. I flew to Randburg. I knew there was a Rand in there somewhere. There were no Zoom interviews back then. I told you this was thousands of years ago. Long story short, I got rejected. And I remember I was so depressed. I was so dejected from being rejected from my very first job interview. I didn't even listen to this. I didn't even give myself a second chance. Like, my very first job interview, I got declined, and I was like, screw this country, I'm going to Korea. Ridiculous, I know. But anyway, that's what happened. I heard people talking about Korea. Like, there were lots of people at Rhodes, at my university, who had gone over already, and they were talking about it, only good things. So I was like, well, let me just give it a go. And I didn't know anything about Korea at that time. Nothing. That's how like close-minded I was at that point in my life. I was so stuck in my South African bubble. Didn't know anything about Korea, but I was like, let me just, you know. Anyway, in 2011, You wouldn't even have known me at that time. Well, you didn't know me at that time, but I was so shy, zero confidence. I didn't even speak. I did not speak at all. I only opened my mouth when I needed to eat. So I don't even know where I got the courage from. Still to this day, I'm so shocked that I even took that leap. But anyway, I did it. And yeah, I went to Korea in 2011, just a few months after I graduated. I was 22 at the time. I was a baby. And I remember I was supposed to go to Korea for just 1 year. But you know, one thing led to another, and suddenly 1 year turned into 10 years and I was 32 when I came back from Korea. That makes it sound like I spent 10 years there, 22 to 32, but actually technically it was 8.5 years. I taught and lived in Korea for 8.5 years. It's just because I kept coming home for about 6 months, then going back, then coming home for 6 months, then going back. It added up to 10 years. But anyway, you know, 8.5 years, 10 years, there's no like difference when you're talking about that level of cultural immersion. Do you know what I'm saying? Now, when you live in a country for that long, inevitably when you come back, people are gonna ask you, so how was South Korea? Valid question, but honestly just the worst question. So like next time you see me, please don't ask me that question. I know that you're showing care and concern for me, but like I hate that question just because how do you sum up 10 of the most insane years of your life into just a couple of sentences? When someone asks me that question, my brain gets so overwhelmed with like 10 years of memories flashing through that I kind of just like, get super overwhelmed and I just like kind of blurt out, it was good. But obviously it was good. Understatement of the century. How do I even explain what it's like going from South Africa to South Korea? Honestly, the only way I can put it is like, you know, it's like driving the skadonk broken down car with one wheel missing to suddenly driving a Mercedes. That's what it's like going from South Africa to South Korea. No offense, hey? You know, in Korea they describe it as like Bali culture. In Korea, Bali means like hurry, fast, quick. So it's like that quick culture. To me, it's like impatient culture. Because in Korea, everything is moving. Everything is fast. Korea is like this very well-oiled machine that just keeps moving. And if you slip up and you slow down, you're going to get left behind. That was really hard for me to get used to in the beginning, and then I kind of just adjusted to it, and now not only did I just adjust to it, but now I get so frustrated when things move slowly, which is why readjusting to South Africa is just so much fun, as you can imagine. Not only that, but Korea is ridiculously safe, right? I realized that as a South African, it's actually really difficult for us to even comprehend that level of safety. I realized coming back home and explaining it to other South Africans who have not left the country or who haven't been to Korea, it is really hard for us to comprehend that kind of safety. And just like how going to Korea and explaining to a Korean our level of crime, I can see they can't even comprehend what I'm even talking about. I think I told you this before, but like explaining my father's hijacking to my co-teacher, she was just like, she just had this like glazed look on her face. She was just like, Sam, someone took your car while you were driving on the road. She was just not even, nothing was happening. Like that now, when I explain like how safe Korea is to South Africans, they're just like, what? There was one time that I was in a coffee shop. I was actually editing in a coffee shop in Korea, and some of their coffee shops are huge, so like there are different levels. And I remember I was sitting on this one level, and suddenly I needed the toilet, and the toilet was one level below me. And of course I was alone, because I always am. And at that time I had my entire life with me. I had my laptop, I had my iPhone, I had my iPad at the time. I had all the money I ever had made in Korea on my card. And in Korea, when you swipe your card, there's no pin and everything. You just swipe. I left all of that on the table and I went to the toilet. And needless to say, when I came back, it was all there on the table. That is not gonna happen in South Africa ever. Not even perfect little Cape Town is that gonna happen. On top of that, I just like fell in love with Korea. The food, the people, the culture, the convenience, the safety, this amazing ability to juggle their like ancient traditions with this like next level modernity. It's just like all fascinating to me, you know. I loved all of it, and quite frankly, like when I came back home, South Africa just like it just paled in comparison. It was just boring and slow and corrupt and frustrating and unsafe and just like ugh. No offense. Now listen, don't get me wrong, South Africa's beautiful, right? It's my country. Our food's amazing, people are wonderful, minus the racist. The landscapes are beautiful. Guys, our landscapes, you're not gonna find our landscapes in Korea. No offense, Korea. Their landscapes kind of look all samey, you know, no matter which province you go to. In South Africa, the landscapes change from province to province. You're not gonna find that anywhere else. You think you're gonna find a bloody mutton bunny in Korea? No, you're not. Maybe if you go to the South African restaurant, you'll find a bunny chow, but it's not authentic, and it's 22,000 won back when I was there, which is $22. Do you know it's $22? Times that by 18, that's what it is in rand. For an inauthentic bunny chow? No thank you. So yeah, there are so many beautiful things about this country. I've said this before, I'll say it again. Anything that the government does not touch in this country, those things are beautiful. But unfortunately, the government touches way too many aspects that directly impact our lives. Unfortunately, like the nice food, the friendly people, the beautiful landscapes, it's like it's not enough to keep us happy, to keep us satisfied. Do you know what I'm saying? I had the most amazing life in Korea. I remember when I got home, I was worried, I was panicking. I was like, are the best years of my life over? Is the peak of my life over in my 30s? How am I ever gonna trump that? Of course, now I've matured a bit, I've grown a bit, and I realize like the best moments in life aren't necessarily like the most exciting moments of your life. The best moments of your life are also embedded in those small, meaningful moments. So, you know, I have plenty more best moments to come. But when I first came home, I was panicking because I was like, damn, I might as well die now, because like what else do I need to look forward to? Yeah. Now listen, before you all come for me with your burning torches for bashing South Africa, this is where the big old catch comes in, and it's something that really caught me off guard. After about my 5th year in Korea, by then I'm about 27, 28, I'm not sure, I started noticing this weird feeling, this like nagging feeling inside. Something was not right. After more reflection, I noticed this. Despite having the most wonderful life in Korea, something was still missing. And believe it or not, I realized that I was still not happy. Now I'm asking you, how is it that I'm living the most amazing life in South Korea? I don't have to worry about safety, I have my independence, I'm literally just doing whatever I want. I was traveling, I had everything, and yet I was still not happy. How? Well, after my 7th, 8th year, the tail end of my career in Korea, I came to the horrific realization that my happiness there was just surface level, and on a much deeper level something was missing. And I think that little thing that was missing was this little thing called connection. Oh, this is where we get deep now. So even down to the people that you come across in Korea. Just to make this clear, I'm not talking about Korean people. I'm actually just talking about the foreign community. And please don't get me wrong, hey? I met many wonderful people in Korea. Many of them I still communicate with to this day. I have 4 best friends in my life, and 3 out of 4 of them I met in Korea. So not everyone, but a lot of the time I would realize that the foreigners in Korea, they would hang out, but the only thing that they all had in common was their foreignness. A lot of the time I would look at the people I was talking to in a room and I would think like, you know, if we were all just back in South Africa, we would probably not be hanging out. We had nothing in common. Like, we only had our foreignness in common. And so, like, the conversations a lot of the time are shallow and connections are absent. I don't know. The thing is, like, people are coming from all walks of life, and a lot of the time people are so different. That's good when you like learning about different perspectives, definitely, absolutely. But when it comes to forming deeper connections, it wasn't really working because we were so different. And actually, a lot of the time we realize that we're actually kind of forced to hang out just because we're foreign and we can speak English. Yeah, I think I just got a little bit tired of that. You know, another thing to remember about Korea is very often like a temporary stop for people. So people come for 1, 2, 3 years, they teach, and then they leave. And then new foreigners come in. And so it's like an ongoing cycle of this foreigners coming and going. Except I was the only constant. Because I lived there for so long, I was sometimes the only constant in my city. People were coming and going around me, and then I have to like start that like small talk over and over again, like getting to know new people. Just when you like made a connection with someone, they leave, and then new people come in, and then you have to start all over again with those people. You know, meeting new people is always a good thing, but I think after a while I felt very jaded with that ongoing cycle. Now, there's another issue that is weirdly also connected to connection. This is different, and it's a lot to do with my being foreign. I noticed that I was there for almost a decade and I was still getting ogled at. Kids were still pointing at me. I was still in the streets like here, like, oh, 외국인, which means foreigner. And I understand that, you know, there's a very tiny minority of foreigners in Korea, but like, I would still, up until the very end of my Korean career, like, I would still have people coming up to me and like stroking my skin to like see if it's real, and like pulling at my hair to check if that was real. And like, I understand they were really fascinated by how different I looked to them, but I think like after a while, when my foreignness is like literally being pointed out to me, it's hard to feel completely at home in that country, to feel that connection. And obviously I understand that I'm not Korean, so I'm going to look different. I absolutely understand that like their intentions are not evil. I understand that it's coming out of like a place of curiosity, but I think I don't know, again, I was just feeling a little bit jaded. Now remember, I said that I would sometimes come home for 6 months at a time. I always remember that those 6 months were really happy periods. Like, I was always happy to come home. It was very frustrating always, because you must remember load shedding, all these issues that we have, load shedding, for example, started when I was in university. I think it was like my second year in 2008 or something. Maybe even my first year, 2007, I can't remember. So we've been dealing with this for a very long time. So it was always really frustrating coming home to no lights, snow, water, all these issues. But still, I felt happy to be home. Like, the moment I stepped into Joburg International, like, there was like this immediate sense of belonging. And then of course there were like other little things which made me leave Korea. Like, you know, there's the issue of teaching. I was good at it, but it's not my passion. I needed to be back in my field. I missed writing. I missed being creative, most importantly. I loved my students. Gosh, I loved my students. Well, most of them, some of them were brats, but they're so funny. Korean students are so funny. And I think they really liked me too. I think they had fun in my class. Who is the most famous man in South Africa?
누구지? I don't know. Oh my god. Charlie Puth.
Charlie Puth!
South Africa에서 가장 유명한.
Ariana Grande.
Ariana Grande! The most famous man!
Teacher Dead.
I am a man!
Teacher Dead.
Who?
Sam Dead. Teacher Sam Dead.
Who is she? Take one can. He was a president.
Trump.
Trump.
First word. 넬슨 만델라.
They were always so interested in me. They were always so happy to teach me about Korea and Korean pop culture. And they were so interested to hear about South Africa and learn about South Africa as well. They always loved it when I spoke Korean. They found it so funny. They found it absolutely hilarious that I was called Sam Sam. That never got old for them. If you don't know, that's how my channel name came about, because I was known as Sam Sam in Korea. In Korea, the students call you by your first name followed by teacher. But teacher in Korean is 선생님, but obviously 선생님 is too long, so they shorten it to Sam. And then I introduced myself as Sam because I thought Sandhira would be a bit of a mouthful for them. So I became known as Sam Teacher or Sam Sam in Korean. They just found that hilarious. I did like. So anyway, I became Sam Sam. Yeah, I think that's the part that I miss the most about Korea. Here's the big question. If I knew that I was only surface level happy in South Korea, why, oh why, did I keep going back? Well, after even more reflection, gosh, the amount of reflection that I've been doing, I'm surprised that I have not even turned into a mirror yet. It was a very hard pill to swallow, but I had to swallow it in the end. But I realized that I kept going back to Korea just because I was running away from my problems here. I would come home to South Africa and yeah, I felt this lovely sense of belonging, but I also got hit with load shedding, no water, no internet, and then I was like, nah. No, I'm going back. Basically, Korea was too easy. It was too convenient. It was too easy. Guys, in Korea, you do not do anything. People don't do anything. Machines are doing everything for them. I told you, it is a well-oiled machine. It is too easy. And so I got addicted to that. I fell into a comfort zone in Korea. And so I kept going back. Anyway, that like longing for connection, it kept eating away at me like this big old monkey that kept growing bigger and bigger, and it was sitting on my shoulder and it was growing bigger and bigger and becoming more of a burden for me. And by the time I hit 31, 32, that was like my last year in Korea, I realized I had to come back home. But listen, it was hard. I cried when I got to the airport. I cried on the plane home. I think a part of me was also crying because I wanted it so badly to be home for me. That's all I ever wanted. I wanted Korea to be home for me because I loved it there. But something was missing. Oh gosh, and then I came home and I don't even need to tell you, but it was so hard. It was so hard to readjust to home. Now you must know how conflicted I am feeling on the inside. Because now I'm home, which is what I wanted, but now I can't readjust. Even though I knew I made the right decision, it was just a very strong dose of reverse culture shock for me. And it just took me a really long time to become South African again, to like get into that South African mode. So yeah, I think I'm still dealing with a lot of inner conflict about my decision, but in the end, I feel I made the right decision. Because I think I got to a point in Korea where I was like stuck. I was feeling stagnant. I was not growing anymore. I think I reached like a plateau in Korea. And that's got nothing to do with South Korea and everything to do with my own personal journey. I wasn't moving forward in terms of my own personal growth. Listen, I do love a good bit of irony. Remember in the beginning how I was saying like Korea is just constantly moving and it's this well-oiled machine, and here I was in Korea and suddenly I was feeling stagnant, and I realized that I needed to come back to that old skadonk car with one wheel missing to continue with my growth. Really, is this how life goes? Now at 34, I feel like I'm on track again. I feel like I have a very clear idea of where I want to be, of what I want and what I deserve. I feel like I built a stronger version of me. I think this now is the strongest version of me that I've met. And actually, I don't think that I would have met this version of me if I did not come home. I realized in Korea that I'd reached a plateau and I felt like I wasn't being challenged anymore. I think that's it. I feel like I wasn't being challenged anymore. Now, I'm gonna end off by saying this. Please, I'm gonna reiterate this because I just know people are gonna come away from this video with the wrong message. Do not get me wrong. Let me reiterate this. Korea was the best thing that's ever happened to me. Looking back now, I am so grateful that 22-year-old Sandhira got rejected by Supersport. I'm so grateful for that domino effect of events that consequently happened, because she needed to get rejected. She needed to go out into the world and leave her tiny South African bubble and just learn and grow. Korea was good for me when I needed it. It was good for me at exactly the right time. And then I grew and I matured and I just naturally things evolved, you know. Then I suddenly realized that I needed more and I needed a change. Korea changed my life exponentially. From the most amazing experiences that I had, the cultural experiences that I had, to the wonderful people that I met, because yes, I did meet wonderful people in Korea, to the way it like completely opened my mind about different ways of living, different ways of thinking. Korea will always have... Oh, I think the lights came back. I was like, what the heck? Korea will always have a place in my heart. Always. 항상. Always. So yeah, I love Korea, but it was just time. It was just time for me to return home. That's all it was. Who knows if I'll ever return? Maybe next year we'll be on stage 46 of load shedding and I'll be like, okay, right. It's time to uproot my life again. But for now, I'm in South Africa to stay, as far as I can see. You know, at this point, like, I've done too many things now which just like further rooted me in South Africa, and it just, for now anyway, it just seems like you guys are stuck with me for a much longer time. And that, my friends, is the end of the story. Wasn't that such a great story? I hope you weren't expecting like some scandalous story, or like something happened, or I got fired, or no, nothing of that sort. It was just a completely boring reason, like it was time. It's been 2 years since I've been back. It's been hard. There were plenty of tears, but we are getting there. I hope that answers all of your questions about Korea. I'm sorry if you were expecting me to go back, if you missed my Korean adventures. Those were fun times. Korea was just so much fun. Like such a mad country, but in the best way, you know, because it's wild out there, you know. Like Asia in general is just, it's too much fun. But yeah, Korea, 사랑해. South Africa, 사랑해. Like everyone, 사랑해. Alright, so this video's been long enough, so I hope you got some closure from that. I hope you enjoyed that. I hope that wasn't too long and boring for you. Don't worry, I get back to my normal programming from next week. I feel weird doing my outro for this kind of video, but anyway, if you liked the video, give it a like. If you didn't like the video, give it a like anyway. Don't forget to follow me on all the social media. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Don't forget to join my channel, and I will see you next time with a new video. Goodbye.